The Joe Rogan Experience.
If you think about, like, you got to go all the way back to Jim Crow. So you go to slavery, and then what happens after slavery? Well, they don't have slavery anymore, but you know what they do? They lock up black men for almost nothing and then force them to be slaves in prison.
Yeah.
And they create things. They work on the fucking chain gang.
Yeah.
All that shit is slavery.
Yeah.
It's just, and they would find ways to prosecute. Look, we
Illegal
know today.
marijuana.
I've done a ton of podcasts with Josh Dubin, who used to work with the Innocence Project, and now he's got his own thing with the Ike Perlmutter Center. But they find people that are wrongfully convicted and help them get out. We've had a bunch of those guys come on the podcast, including one guy who came on who was actually guilty. He was guilty before, and we knew he was guilty, but he got 50 years.
Right.
And then he was talking about he turned his life around, and his, like, a month after he was on the podcast?
Yeah.
How long was it after he was on the podcast?
Yeah.
2 months? Maybe 2 months? Cut some dude's head off.
Yeah.
And he was wearing a blonde wig, and homie didn't understand new HD security cameras. Like, this dude put a blonde wig on. They got crystal clear footage of him with his goatee on, wearing a blonde wig, carrying some dude's head.
How sold were you in the room with him? How good was he at selling himself as this reformed person?
Well, you know, what does it mean? Okay, so he didn't kill anybody in jail, and then he's out now, and he's got this new lease on life, and he's out, and he, you know, he's trying to do something different with his life. When you listen to his explanation of what happened, why he went to jail, so he was a drug dealer.
Right.
And he had gone to jail before, and some dude owed him money. Some dude, some drug deal, and the guy was like, fuck you. So he found the guy, and he pistol whipped him, and he robbed him.
Okay.
And he got 50 years for that.
Right.
And he was a habitual criminal, for sure. So should he have gotten 50 years for that? Well, I don't know. I mean, it seems like when he got out, he was kind of a bad guy.
Yeah,
but was that because he spent 25 fucking years in jail? Because he was 20. I think he did 25 years before they let 24 before they let him out, which is an insane amount of time to be locked up in a prison and then expect to acclimate. And
so you're saying, did prison make him much worse?
Did prison make him much worse? Because it certainly can with some people.
Yeah.
But we've had people on that were innocent, and prison made them amazing. I mean, something about like the constant studying and the accepting your situation in life, even though you were innocent. And then a lot of those guys got released, and it's crazy to see them like they lost 20 years of their life for something that was bullshit, complete bullshit. And then you find out that the cops and the prosecutors who were involved in their case had done that to many, many, many people. That's another thing that people need to take into consideration. How fucking dirty some people involved in prosecuting and convicting people are.
Yeah.
You remember that guy in Pennsylvania? There was a guy in Pennsylvania who was a judge who went to jail because it turns out that he was getting paid to have kids arrested and sentence them into juvenile centers.
Wow.
So he was getting a kickback. He was getting kickback from the center. So the state has to pay for the population, right? And then you have private prisons, which is even more sinister.
Yeah.
Because then it's not just the incentive of the people that are working in the prison and the prison guards union, which is a real thing. Prison guards unions work to stop marijuana laws from being
Really?
Yeah, because they want people to get arrested so that people go to jail.
Yeah.
So they have jobs. Which is fucking crazy to think.
Yeah.
But private prisons make money off people being incarcerated.
Yeah.
If you make money off a person being incarcerated, now you have an incentive for incarcerating people.
And
just like pharmaceutical drug companies have an incentive to give you drugs you might not even need.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Because they make money doing that.
And if you're a private prison, you don't even have to treat them that well because they're prisoners. Who's really going to get upset on their behalf? A few people that we're not going to take seriously. So if their conditions suck, it's prison. They're prisoners. Why do I need to treat them well?
Nobody cares.